Hello everyone, welcome to chemistry class. As we have been doing the revision of chapter 2 physical and chemical changes, this is the part 2 of this video revision series. And in the last video we had seen the beginning of this chapter about the various reversible, irreversible changes, then the desirable, undesirable changes, and we had started the topic of physical changes. So let us continue where we left. So here is the topic. We will begin the dissolution of any substance in a liquid. This also is a physical change. So when we are dissolving, dissolution means we are dissolving some solid thing in any liquid substance. So whenever we are dissolving any two substances, one of them solid, another one being liquid, what we are actually preparing, we are making a particular solution. On dissolution of a substance, we are preparing a solution. And this solution is made up of two things. The solution contains, one is the solute, that is the substance that itself dissolves. Generally it is the solid substance which is getting dissolved. And the second thing is what? That is the liquid in which the substance is dissolving. The liquid which is dissolving the things is called as solvent. So basically we can say solution is made up of solute and solvent. Solute is generally the solid thing which is getting dissolved, and solvent is generally the liquid thing. It is not the case always. This is most of the time it is possible. So whatever dissolves is solid or solvent, and what substance is dissolving other things is the liquid or the solvent. So solute and solvent dissolve together to make a solution. But how this dissolution actually takes place? Whenever we are dissolving these things, we will see here in the diagram now. Whenever we are dissolving different things, the solute and the solid and the solvent both are getting mixed with each other. So solute particle, that is the solid ones, you already know about the solid particles. They are not having interparticle space. Intermolecular space is not there in the case of the solids, or we can say solute. So यहाँ पे space नहीं होता है. But in the solvent, that is the liquid, in the liquid matter, we are having some interparticle or intermolecular space. Some space is there. So in between the particles you can see some space. When we are mixing both of these, what will happen? These particles will occupy the intermolecular space. Whatever space is available in the liquid molecule, in between the liquid molecule, some space is there. This space only will be occupied by the solid particles. Here you can see in the last diagram, in this you can see this blue color dots, that is of the solid. They have occupied the place in between the yellow dots. Yellow dots are of the liquid, blue one are of the solid. So here you can see in the right side of this diagram, all are mixed with each other. So whatever intermolecular space is available in between the liquid molecules, that space only will be occupied by the solid molecules, and ultimately what is formed is solution is obtained. So this is how solution can be obtained, or we can say dissolution of a substance in a liquid can be done. Also opposite we can do. From this same solution we can again get back the solid substance. How we will do so? This particular solution, whatever has been obtained, we will keep it on heating. So by evaporation, on evaporating this particular thing, what will happen? Again we can reverse this reaction. You can get the solute and solvent again. For example, now let us see the example. For example, here an activity is given. We have to take some water in a glass tumbler, and we have to mark the level of the water with the marker. So as you can see here in this diagram, we have taken water in a glass tumbler, filled the water there up to a particular level, and marked it with the help of a marker. And then what we are doing, we are adding sugar in this particular water which is present in this glass tumbler. Then what will happen? On adding this particular sugar, that is the solute, what will happen? The water level will rise. Because sugar has been added, water level will rise. And then we have to stir the mixture, means we have to mix the sugar. As and when the sugar will dissolve, again the water level comes down to its original level. So first of all we have marked the level. When we are adding the sugar, from that actual level only, we will find that water level has increased. So we can easily observe that if we have mark the water level with the marker on the glass. You can draw the level, you can draw a line there, and then you will observe from the original level the water level will rise. But after the sugar has dissolved again, what will happen? The water level will come back downwards. On mixing the sugar, only water level falls down. So this is a small activity which is proving that, what it is proving, that whenever a solid will dissolve, the volume of the liquid will not change. Why the volume of liquid is not changing? The reason is same here, that is given in this diagram. Because the solid whatever we have added, it is not taking extra space, it is taking that space only which is available in between the liquid particles. That is why the water level is not changing. So that is a small thing. If you want this activity to be in opposite manner, what we can do, the solution we will simply keep it on heating. On evaporation you will get it back. Same activity can be done with the case of the salt solution. Salt solution, if you are heating, then what you will get? Salt solution, if it is kept on heating, will get back water and salt. So these can be obtained back on heating this thing, or evaporation of the salt solution, we can get salt easily. So this is what we are going to learn in the next topic. Here itself you can see evaporation and boiling of the liquid. So whenever the liquid is evaporating, what is happening? It is converting the particular solution into the solute and solvent back. And this evaporation basically takes place at all temperature. Whenever the temperature is raised, what will happen? So whenever the temperature is raised, then the rate of the evaporation also increase. So ultimately we can say in more temperature more evaporation is there, in less temperature less evaporation is there. So finally we can relate it to the weather pattern also. In summer season evaporation is faster, in winter season it is slower. Also we can also relate this to the boiling point. At the boiling point, the temperature at which liquid converts into gas, at this boiling point we can say the evaporation is the fastest. Maximum evaporation will take place at that time, because almost all the liquid will then convert into gas. So that is evaporation only. Converting of liquid into gas has taken place at the boiling point. That is why evaporation is fastest at the boiling point. Opposite thing of the evaporation is what is, it is called as condensation. Whenever the vapors, whatever vapors of liquids are there, if we are cooling them, then we will get back the liquid in the original form. We will get it back. We can do this activity with water vapor. If you collect the water vapor and cool it down, again you will get the same water back. So this is a change of state of matter, and because it is reversible change, we can say it is a physical change. All these changes are physical changes. Some more examples are given: evaporation and boiling of water, also of alcohol, also of ether. All these are different liquids, and whenever they are evaporating and boiling, all such changes are physical changes only, because we can reverse them. All of these can have evaporation as well as condensation. Related to the evaporation concept only is given here one example, that is drying of the clothes. Whenever wet clothes are spread in the open, what is happening? They get dry after some time. So where the water has gone from the clothes, it has actually evaporated. The water slowly evaporates, and because of that the clothes get dry. In the summer season it is very fast. In the winter it takes some time, because temperature is high in the summers, temperature is low in the winters. That is why the rate of evaporation is changing, and such change, that is drying of the cloth, is example of physical change, because it is reversible. Any number of time you can put your clothes in water and again you can dry them. So it is a reversible change, and nothing is stopping in the same process. So this is all. We have completed the topic of physical changes, all the examples you have seen. Let us move to the chemical changes. Today we will see the definition and some examples. So chemical change is just opposite of the physical change. In this case, new substance will be formed. This is one condition. And second thing is what? The change cannot be reversed. This is the second condition for this particular change. First is new substance will be formed, something new product will be there. Second, the reaction cannot be reversed. It is an irreversible change. All the irreversible changes can be put in this category. So let us now have some examples. First is the burning of wood or coal. Not only wood or coal, any type of fuel. When we are burning, it is producing a new product. Basically energy is given, heat energy is released. When we are burning coal, what is produced? The burning of the coal produces a new substance called as carbon dioxide. That is the gas that produce. So because it is a new product, we can say it is a chemical change. Also from carbon dioxide we cannot get coal, it is not possible, so the change is irreversible also. So ultimately we can say burning of coal is a chemical change because it is irreversible also and new substance CO2 is produced. Similarly paper or wood, when we are burning, it contains what? Paper or wood is made up of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, and when we are burning it, what is happening? Again CO2 gas is produced and some moisture or water vapor is also there. So when we will cool down this carbon dioxide and water vapor, what will happen? Can we get the paper back? No, it is not possible. One time the paper or wood is burned, it will not come back after burning. Basically it is irreversible change, and because of that we can say burning of paper or wood is a chemical change. Next is now rusting. Whenever iron is left in the open air in moisture situation, then what will happen? A reddish brown color solid is deposited. This reddish brown solid is called what? It is called as rust. Its chemical name is iron oxide. So this iron oxide is only rust. Formula we can write as Fe3O4. So this rusting is taking place, which is the deposition of red brown solid on iron objects due to the presence of oxygen and water vapor in the surroundings. But we cannot convert this rusted metal into the original matter again. It cannot convert into pure iron again. We can prevent rusting, but we cannot reverse this reaction. It cannot be reversed. So one time rusting has taken place, it cannot be changed back to iron by reversing the condition, and hence it is irreversible. Because of this reason only we can say rusting is a chemical change. Rusting is actually making the iron objects very weak. Over a period of time they can easily break there. Although iron is very strong metal, but it can easily break after rusting has taken place. Now cooking of food. Food is cooked once of all the food is cooked, we can eat that, and after cooking you cannot prepare the raw vegetables again. One time the food has been cooked, it is a chemical change that is happening. So this is only the reading. Cooking of food is a chemical change. Next similar process is curdling of the milk. Whenever milk is converted into curd, so that there also a new substance, that is curd, is obtained. Second thing, we cannot produce milk from the curd. One time the milk is converted into curd, it will not be reversed again. Again the two conditions are fulfilled, so we can say curdling of milk is what? It is a chemical change. Next here, that is boiling of an egg. A particular egg is having two important parts. We can say two liquids are there. One is the yellowish part called as the yolk, and the colorless part called as the egg white. So yellow yolk is generally getting separated from the egg white when we are boiling an egg. On boiling, in the center part you can see the yolk is there, egg yolk, and all around egg white is surrounded there. And one time it has boiled, we cannot get it back in the original form. We can boil the egg one time, but again opposite reaction is not possible. So on boiling, a new substance is coming. This is boiled egg is a new substance that is obtained, but it is a irreversible change also. So both the conditions are fulfilled, new product is formed and irreversible change is there, and hence we can say boiling of egg is a chemical change. Next similar process is digestion of food. Whenever we eat food, what is happening? It gets digested in the body. Digestion is actually what is happening. Digestion is actually whatever food particles, whatever food we have eaten, it has changed into several other things. What are those other things? Only nutrients are there. Whatever nutrients are present in the food, they will be absorbed in the body, they are taken up, and some of the waste material are expelled outside. Whatever is not required, that is expelled outside by the excretory system of our body. So here we can say basically new substances forming, and also changes irreversible. You cannot get the food outside again what you have eaten. It cannot be obtained back again. It is a irreversible change, and we can say digestion is also a chemical change. Similar process here now, fermentation. In the presence of enzymes are chemicals only. So these enzymes are doing what? Sugar solution are converting are converted into alcohol. From the sugar, alcohol can be obtained by the function of enzymes. By the help of certain chemicals only it is done. This process is called as fermentation, process of obtaining alcohol from sugar. So that is fermentation. Also, one more gas when alcohol is being prepared, one gas, that is CO2, carbon dioxide, is also formed in the process and it is liberated outside. This process is actually a chemical change. It is used for what? Here the definition is given, you can just mark it in your book. It is used to prepare alcohol from sugar. So this process is actually what? It is a chemical change. A new substance is coming in the process. From the sugar we are getting alcohol, that is a new substance is obtained. Also from the alcohol we cannot get sugar. One time sugar converts into alcohol, it will not reverse again. It is a reversible process, and because of this we can say fermentation of sugar to produce alcohol is a chemical change. The meaning of the fermentation is given here. Fermentation, this particular word is obtained from fervere. Fervere means to boil. What we are doing is we are converting sugar into alcohol. When it is converting into alcohol, it appears, we are not boiling sugar, but it appears as if the liquid is boiling, because at the top a froth is obtained. Froth को हिंदी में झाग बोलते हैं. So that is froth. Froth is obtained whenever this process is conducted. So next is now photosynthesis. The plants are using the sunlight in this process, and the reaction goes on in the chlorophyll. What is the reaction here? The reaction is between CO2 and water, that is in the form of water vapor. Also water is supplied to the plants. So CO2 and water both are reacting together in the presence of sunlight in the chlorophyll to produce food, that is glucose. One time the food has been prepared, it cannot be reversed. New substances are there. Also it is a reversible change. We can say thus that photosynthesis is a chemical change. Last one is given here now, respiration. Whatever food we are eating, it is converting into the energy in the presence of oxygen gas. So that process is only is respiration. The converting of the food into energy is called respiration. Food converts into energy when it combines with the oxygen gas. The oxygen gas, breathing, it combines with the glucose, that is the food in our body. It will give us what? It will give us energy, that is obtained also after the respiration reaction has been done. After the food has been converted into energy, carbon dioxide and water vapor is also formed. This CO2 is what we are breathing outside. So this is the reaction you will learn in details in biology. This particular reaction also is irreversible and a chemical change. One separate topic is also given, that we will see mixture of iron and sulfur. Iron is black colored or greyish colored, sulfur is yellow colored. And when we are mixing both of these things, we have to take the ratio 7:4, means 7 parts iron and 4 parts sulfur. And when we are heating them together, what is happening? The mixture will start glowing. This glow will keep on for certain period of time. And why this glow is coming? Because on heating, iron and sulfur are combining together. They are making a single compound, iron sulfide, that is a new substance has been obtained. And if we cool it down again, on heating they are glowing, a new substance is obtained. But if we are cooling it again, then again we will not get back iron and sulfur. It is not possible. One time we have heated iron and sulfur, they will combine for the rest of the time. So then we cannot get back iron and sulfur separately. It is a reversible change. So the glowing of the mixture of iron and sulfur when heated, this particular reaction is what? This is a chemical change that is happening. So these all we have examples you will learn. And the next topic will be the change of the mass. This is an important topic related to chemical changes. We will see this in the upcoming video. For now we will wind up the video now. We will continue in the next week. Thank you.